Seconds out.
The long-awaited return between these two. The blonde Rudkin, the man who's held this British bantamweight championship with one short break for almost 7 years. And facing him, the man who went 12 rounds with him in their previous meeting, Johnny Clark from South London, who's come through a rather severe illness in recent months, now fully fit again, and attempting this time to take these British and Commonwealth titles from Rudkin. The question, is Rudkin a little over the top? He's had a long, busy and at times hectic career. Is he now beginning to slip? Rudkin's been one of the best pros in the business for years. He's certainly one of the best champions this country's produced over the last 10 years. Clark has height and reach on the champion. Rudkin stopped him in 12 rounds last time, but Clark made a good start in that fight, and round about the 5th and 6th rounds, it looked as though the titles were going to change hands. What a career this man has had. Alan Rudkin from Liverpool, lives in Enfield in Middlesex now. A man who's chased the World Bantamweight Championship around the world. He's had 3 goes at it. He was beaten each time, twice only very narrowly.
Seconds out, round 2.
One interesting thing about these two, and it shows up the difference in experience between them. Clark has never been further than the 12 rounds he went with Rudkin, and Rudkin has been 15 rounds 7 times. Noticeable that Clark is certainly starting this one at a very much steadier pace than he did the previous encounter. He said to me on Saturday that I'm not going to get too excited this time. I put it all in the opening rounds and then had nothing left afterwards. Calm and precise and gets those punches through. A gaunt, spindly figure, Clark. Wide shoulders. And carries a good punch. Rudkin looks a bit red around the left eye to me. And Rudkin is cut. I thought he was. Rudkin has got just the beginnings of a cut above the left eye. So that's early. That's happened early, and now that's going to be a bit of a handicap to him, and he's got to go a long way with it. So really that's the first, literally the first blood drawn, and a little bit of success. That goes the challenger's way at the start. Clark's right hand can not only do damage to the chin, but it can do an awful lot of damage to that cut. Rudkin's got a little bit of further damage high up on his scalp. Right high up on the left-hand side of his head, right up in the hair, is where Rudkin is also damaged. He's got Rudkin in trouble. And for a moment there, Rudkin looked very frail. And he licks his lips, the champion. And Clark looks very much stronger. Good right hand from Rudkin. The little pro comes right back. So we've got the makings once again of a classic match between these two. So many times Rudkin has been in real trouble in the early stages of fights and has come back, and he's going to have to do it again. Well, the Clark corner will be well pleased with the start their man's made after 4 rounds. I've got him fairly clearly ahead already. This man is never beaten until the final bell.
Seconds out, round 6.
And these two have got this packed Royal Albert Hall absolutely hanging on every move in this fight. You can always tell when a fight grips the audience, the tension is so thick you could cut it with a knife, and that's the way it is tonight. There simply is no telling which way this will swing. Rudkin now damaged to both nose and mouth.
It's a good, disciplined start by Clark, who's pacing himself for a long battle. But he knows, and we know, that Rudkin is one of the best pros in the business. And in the next few rounds, the battle sways first one way and then the other, until suddenly it seems that Rudkin may be tiring against his youthful challenger. The 11th is clearly going to be a crucial round.
Seconds out, round 11.
Rudkin now breathing great gulps of air down into his lungs as we reach the final third of this championship. A battle between two good pros. And really Rudkin fighting as much against his age as against Clark. Rudkin staying close in, trying to smother those attacks. Bringing out every bit of professionalism that's in him here to stem the tide that's coming against him from this 24-year-old challenger, the man with 6 years advantage in age and who's learned so much from their first fight. Rudkin trying to press home these jabs, but they're not stopping Clark coming to him. And Clark grits his teeth as he takes 2 more in the face and tries to come back again. And Rudkin now bleeding worse and worse from that mouth. And this is one of the real crucial rounds of the whole championship. And by sheer willpower, Clark has got himself on top. And Rudkin's eye has opened up again, and the little man looks desperately tired. Youth and strength at last beginning to tell. One of the real crisis rounds in the whole of Rudkin's career, and the little champion in serious trouble in the 11th round. Can he come back from that? It's going to be hard.
Seconds out. 12th round.
Well, now we'll see just how much Rudkin has got left after that bad 11th round. Every round now must be a round uphill for Rudkin. And there's again new life in this remarkable 30-year-old. Rudkin again driving those jabs through the guard of Clark. But he's been doing that quite a lot in this fight, and it hasn't stopped Clark coming at him. Every one of those is good. Rudkin showing that he can come back. And this is the round in which he finished Clark last time, but it's altogether different this time. Strength of the challenger gets on top of Rudkin towards the end of every round now. But he's had a pretty fair round, Rudkin, considering what happened to him in the 11th.
That 12th round was a vintage sample of what Rudkin can do when the going is hardest. From looking like going under in the 11th, Rudkin is now right back in the fight. And what's more, Clark must now travel further than he's ever done before in the ring. It's an astonishing fact that Rudkin, from now until the end, has his finest moments in the tremendous climax that follows.
Seconds out. Round 14.
2 rounds to go. Clark's left eye almost completely shut. And Rudkin now full of spring and bounce. And a couple of rounds ago, it was Clark. The moral fibre and determination and the sheer guts of these two men have been tried to the utmost. And again, these punches of Rudkin are getting through to the face of Clark. And Clark's face now is in a really pitiable state. But doggedly the challenger comes on, moves forward as he has done for most of the fight. But these last few rounds he's moved on to a lot of punishment. What a punch to produce at this stage of such a fight. And there is no question at all, Rudkin is dominating these closing rounds. But Clark's still there and refuses to be beaten. Well, this has been an even better fight than the one they had nearly 2 years ago, because at times it has been desperate for both men. Rudkin survived a really bad period round about the 11th round when he looked as though he might be going under, and he came right through it and came back, and from that moment he really hasn't looked back. And I've got him out in front now, not by all that much. In fact, I've got him half a point. That's 2 rounds ahead. And the reception is tremendous, and can you wonder at it? The 15th final round in this great championship for the British and Commonwealth bantamweight titles, held by the blonde Rudkin, who has been under the very severest pressure from time to time here, but at 30 has come through it all and has brought experience to bear. And now Clark is going to make the last really grandstand finish here. That was a good right hand from Clark. The challenger still comes forward, as he's done all the way through the fight. And the applause comes ringing and cheering in from all around this famous old arena, because this is one of the best fights the Albert Hall has ever seen. We have 1 minute left. And how do they do it? At the end of 15 rounds, such as they've been through. Clark's corner hammering on the ring floor to make him go forward, but Rudkin bears the challenger to the ropes. Clark can hardly see out of his left eye. Less than 30 seconds to go. With the tigerish determination of a man who isn't going to let his titles go. Have you ever seen such a fight? The bell, a wonderful championship battle, and Rudkin has kept the title. amazing man, Alan Rudkin, at 30, has put a second notch on his second Lonsdale belt, and the little man has come through once again in the toughest fight he's ever had for the British Championship.